What would you think of this as a toothpaste? A live yogurt
Mm.
with antimicrobial. It's rich in calcium. Does it help to heal the porousness in teeth? Brushing this into your teeth. Now, it'd have to be low sugar and it'd need to be remained in the fridge. You know, like that Yakult drink or Greek yogurt style. Something along those lines that you brush in your teeth.
Yeah.
Do you think that this could be far more beneficial than toothpaste being chemical based?
Yeah.
And which one do you think would be more successful? At the end of the day, look, we live in a world where not all, but most, it's profitable to have damaged teeth. Highly profitable, in fact, when you think about it, extractions and canals, fill-ins, and we're on the verge of making nuclear fission, and yet we can't make decent teeth. We can't look after teeth. Can stick a man on the moon, but can't create decent teeth.
Yeah.
I find this odd. Medical science in gynecologists. What else is there? Bowel cancer. What else is there? Breast cancer. On the verge of sorting out this. Neuroscientists and different things like that are working out the inner mechanisms of a mind, but yet when it comes to teeth, we all fall down. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yet one of the most easiest things, which we would have to look at that, when we look at nuclear power stations, these must be very complex. Putting something on the moon is very complex. Putting probes in space, highly complex. Teeth, in the grand scheme of things, seem to be one of the most easiest things to deal with, and yet it isn't. And why not? Is it because it's highly profitable?
Yeah.
And when everything goes over to privatization, this is when, you know, I take a step back from all of that. That's a weird thing. When it becomes privatized, is there then profit? And is there incentive, cash incentive, to own part of a dentist, but yet also own foods? That we start putting in loads of citric acid, we start putting in needless shit into food, and it starts destroying the teeth. And then people blame you for the way your teeth is, but will not take responsibility for their actions, although they always want to tell you to take responsibility for your actions. And that's an interesting thing. And the more we go back in past, was the teeth really an issue? I don't think it was, because they had a high calcium diet, if you think about it, from livestock. They had a very impressive diet compared to what is today. 0-calorie foods and different things like that. No energy in food, you know, that trying to find ways to extract that. And if people are doing that, you must ask yourselves a very important question. If you privatize health, is it incentive to create a problem, sell your solution? Because it is being sold. The drug industry is making a lot of money out of this.
Yeah.
And that seems like a very weird thing. So anyway, here we have a social climate. Luckily to say, we do have a social climate, although it's been privatized. And we can see this behavior happen with mundane structures. The housing. That's gone over to privatization and it's beginning to increase and the piss is being taken. And, you know, when we look back at the buildings that were being built, I've shown you a few of them. Aren't they gorgeous? Aren't they really beautiful buildings? Yes, some of them were with poisonous products. I understand this, but there again, times change. And they didn't exactly sugarcoat it. They said it very quickly that these are poisonous. Nowadays, we've got these rack buildings. They don't take a lot of strain or stress. And especially if you don't own the land underneath the building. Would it be an incentive for associations and different things like that to build houses out of rack that won't last very long on top of land that you don't own? You just own the house as well as it stands. And if it's got a 20 or 30 year life expectancy, and then, that building's a bit unsafe. Here's a... Rack buildings are terrible. I'm sorry. That's just the way it's going to be. Easy, but again, if you don't own the land, you've just put a house on there and then it becomes consumerism. Whereas the past times, it's not about consumerism. These structures were built to last, and they have done. Sure, they look a little dated, but that's cosmetic. You can have cash incentive on this, which would be more recommended, that if these belong to a council, that you can then sell on cosmetics to have the outside of the house in different personal states, that would be something that you could get a little bit of cash for. And therefore the hideousness can be bought to be safe enough to be built to then go on to do this. But people want to bring it down. Why? Because they want to build crap. And they want to build houses that start fracturing, having problems. They don't take much slamming, but let's strengthen the doors. You know, this all of this sort of weird and wonderful stuff, to be honest, won't hold up to very much. And why is that? Cash incentive. I can now charge you more than market rate if I have to rebuild these houses. Because I had to rebuild these houses, you see, oh yeah, I suppose so. That's why the rents are so extreme. Whereas before, the rents should stabilize on a building that's built to last. And then you might argue that it will create a workforce. That's a pointless workforce. That means then you don't have a direction. You don't have a way forwards. So yes, in with this, just by seeing the way this occurs, and then seeing the way other things are occurring when things get privatization, it always fails down to diminishment, so that you lose out and pay as much as possible in the process. And no longer can you give a house. So if your family members pass on a house to you, it's going to be less likely that that's going to happen now.
Or it
and then
will
why
last
should
a
you have
short
that?
time.
Why should you inherit that? We're the ones that are allowed to inherit that, not you. We inherit, you don't. And I think that's a little bit of a high ground there, that you have a process of inheriting, in some cases, castles and massive amounts of land and parts of an area. But yet when the people want to inherit stuff, it's too successful and we can't cash them out on this stuff. We're all in this together. I don't think so. And then when it comes to teeth, you mean to tell me that it wouldn't put in bad formulas anywhere? Somewhere along the line, you've got to call it that teeth are going very bad, and you can't blame this on diet. If you have a solution, if you keep getting headaches and you keep taking the medication and it doesn't get rid of the headache, what would people say? Oh, just keep taking the tablet, come on. Oh, it seems to be a you problem, this. Then it means that the tablet is no longer working, yes?
Yeah, it's just treatment, it's not solution.
And if it's not working at all, then why would you take it? And toothpaste, if it is not working, then why is nothing being done? And then when you look at it, dentists won't be able to make an absolute killing out of your mouth. And that's an interesting thing to me. And then there's genetics, certain diseases that they would say. Well, the Roman bones look like they were pretty good and they were littered full of diseases. And that seems interesting as well, doesn't it? These become teething problems, and they literally are. And this creates mood in society as well, by the way. Alters the mood. Causes stagnation. Oh, you got to go and see a dentist, have you? Go on, I'll pay you for that. Go on. You got a health problem? I'm not going to pay you for that. Bit weird, isn't it? Go on, go make one of my friends a little bit more money. Go on. And some of this, you need to remortgage fucking houses just to get your teeth seen in today's kind of standard. I think these prices are well out of control. And who is in control of capping that? No one. And then we see price caps on energy companies. Knock them down and give it to National Grid. Then you have full control. Or better still, give it to that company that keeps on trying to limit the caps. Why is it getting more and more expensive? Renewable energy, anyone? And you're paying for it like it's fossil fuel. It's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you pay for it like the sun is charging, handing out hand and asking for money.
And these parts of these companies were all sold off because they weren't generating any money.
Not enough billions and trillions.
Rubbish. You want to buy something that's failing? There's many failing companies out there. Go buy them. In this logic, they would be in the town centres buying all of those shops. We'll show you how to make millions out of it.
Yeah. But it's just getting emptier and
emptier because no one buys a failing company. They only buy something that they can corrupt and profitize off of. That's the only thing that people really do. And then it seems like a very backward way of leadership as well. I'm going to call it out because it is what it is, not because I'm two-faced, but because I want to see a different nation emerge. That's the difference. You have sold these things and then you complain about having lack of power over them. When they were fully in your capable little hands, but you sold them. And then what is your significance after that? If you don't see collapsing governments coming, because sooner or later the narrative will be spun, what's the point in these? They have no power. Unless this is a part of a plan. And then where you see the largest parts of society not listening, why should the people? That's a question.
Yeah.
If they're ignoring your laws, why should the people follow them? And then before you know it, the whole thing falls down because people will pull it. This has been taught to people here, especially when we look at the Priory. That's been taught. That's accepted. Why would you do that? That's an interesting thing. It all comes from toothpaste, doesn't it? I mean, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Yeah. And food, and there's no regulations over it, then why did you sell it? The whole point of power is an oath to protect the people. Then you go and give it over to companies that then abuse the people. Then what was your point? And then out of the many nations that are following this trend, which I find bizarre, when are the nations going to get together and say, are we really doing this correctly? Should we stop doing this? Should we accumulate what we've got? Should we begin to regroup all of this stuff? And can we go a different direction and add more to it and expand what we are? Because the more people that you get on board with that, the more powerful you become. It's just simple physics, really, isn't it? It's not really physics. Common sense, I think, is more so. That's how empires are created. This is how empires are destroyed. Slowly but surely. And money seems like such a good idea in today's standards. Money is the thing you created. Resources are what truly matter. Not money, resources. Resources is number one. Money is very low down on that list. Because by and large, when people stop believing in cash, what are you going to do? When people start lacking in believing in cash and start believing in community, coming together and rebuilding.
Yeah, they will go for resources, not work.
Resources, yeah. You can say no all you want. But the problem is with that all the groups that you will train to protect that will not listen. They will see that there's more in it for them if they go this way. And after all, that's more in it for them. And therefore money becomes a very... It's interesting, to be honest, that all the nations seem to behave this way, and it seems like one of the greatest things to do. But if you actually sit down with it and think about it, is it really? I don't think it is. You can have those pieces of paper, the irony, the full circle irony, that we sold pieces of gold for pieces of paper. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And then these pieces of paper, they sold infrastructure for pieces of paper. God, this is... Just never ever get caught up in your own delusions, really, isn't it? Or your own traps. Yeah, so when it begins to fall down, and then I have to ask with companies, how come you're all acting the same? Well, because we won't be able to be in a market. We won't be able to do this. Really? If you had every single person come through your doors, that collapses the other ones. That builds you. Again, it's this whole bizarre logic going on here that people are obviously believing something because, that belief system that keeps them in then that means that they've all made an agreement.
Mm.
And then when one steps away from that agreement, which it will be inundated with people, which therefore means that they need to expand, the faster and thorough that they get that done, the more they begin to grow, and they expand over weeks that then turn into months.
Yeah.
And then people really do have this word called patient. Be patient.
Mm-hmm.
Your patience in exchange for better treatment. Or you can still pay it this way. People will inundate this. These will fall down naturally, and therefore you become the only one that these resources are going to be sold to at your price.
Mm.
That's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then once again, prosperity will lead into you, and then it's have patience to get the money. Everyone wants this overnight success to have billions in their bank account by an end of the year, and then they want to see that turn into trillions. That's a weird process. That is very weird.
Yeah.
And some of these are getting more richer than empires, aren't they?
Yeah.
The empire of money leads to no good. Mark my words. Anyway, well, we'll come to full circle. But yeah, what do you reckon to that? Some sort of natural toothpaste.
Yeah.
Well, your teeth are made of calcium. Should we rub chemicals on it? What about some baking soda, you know? Chemical based. Stars help make this stuff, you know?
That is scratching, isn't it?
Yeah, eroding, pulling off the enamel slowly but surely with toothpaste like that. Yeah, you start to strip the enamel. Once that layer is gone, it doesn't come back. And you might need to go and see someone and they'll paint it on. That's a weird thing.
But only if it's not too late to paint it on. If the structure underneath is already like crumbling, you cannot do that.
Well, we're going to have to start, you know.
Yeah.
And another weird protocol that the people have, the non-agreement. Oh, if that's private, we can't touch that. Oh, if that's NHS, we can't touch that. I'm sorry, it's the same fucking teeth, same process, same tools, isn't it? Yeah, but our insurance is... Right, and there's not been one new opportunity for an insurance company to be the man in the middle. We'll cover you for both. It's an interesting process, really, isn't it? You mean to tell me that insurance companies can't be made this way?
What a lot of potash. If you want special operation in Europe, you go and have it done maybe privately, because they don't do it or whatever. And then you still can go to national dentists. Never heard about, oh, we cannot touch it. Someone else done it.
And then they say that this creates jobs. But what about if this one expands over here? Does that not create jobs? Does that not create a corporation? A cooperation. The true word of corporation, not the... This can work with houses, this can work with any single thing. Well, we won't sell you any of these materials. You're human. Have any of you even sat down with the materials in the earth? In a river, in anywhere, and bond these together yourself. You are human. With this logic, I am a great believer in people's ability to do things that are the unexpected, out of the, oh, we won't sell you these, we make these bricks like this. I'll see some people then make some waterproof mud. Bricks that are capable of taking flood and everything else, and you can build a whole house out of it. This would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But yet, because you don't believe in yourselves, but your whole empires have all been built on these weird and wonderful things. You think about that. And that's the lack of belief in people. And that's probably because it will fail quite a few times, but you'll get it. Because that's what humans are designed to do. You're so powerful as a species. Individually, you are really powerful, and collectively, you are more powerful than any type of system that you see working around you out in space. You are more powerful than that.
Yeah.
And if stars can make sense out of all of gas, for argument's sake, then what do you think you are capable of doing?
Yeah.
And that's a belief system that is very healthy for people to adopt and adapt. Play around with stuff. Because that's what your ancestors did. It's in your cell memory. You are highly intelligent. And that force that once was there that worked through people back then will initiate again and work through you. I tell you what, this will then start creating these corps in the beginning. First, what they will do is they will pull back on their materials, thinking that their rights and everything else was going to protect them in this. And then you all come together and start making some stuff. And it starts to get successful. This will leave them in a situation now where there's the awe. They'll panic. We'll sell it to you cheaper. Why don't you just do that in the beginning? Because we were relying on your stupid... No, you wasn't relying on stupidity. You were being stupid. And then when you begin to build these, you then be able to lay down your new rights inside these properties. Whatever it may be, you get to make the rights. You want to work from that? Go for it. This will begin to empty their companies and you will begin to make new ones. It's that easy. People are powerful. Institutions are only powerful because people gravitate towards them. You make your new way, and that is power. And you'll be surprised. Watch the people go from one to another. That's an interesting thing. New belief systems, new abilities unlock, new challenges unlock. Before you know it, you'll be reaching the stars very quickly, and you'll be very adapted to this. Every single empire has this one thing. The fallen empires have this one thing in common. They all believed that they were powerful until people just stopped believing in it. In fact, they push so far every single time that this is the outcome. Oh, it begins to happen, and before you know it, it starts off as a trickle, and then spring turns into summer, and an eruption of this. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And some of it's more beneficial to the environment, and it runs away. You never go back, because then you start to learn all of the things start disappearing. Health problems, they start to vanish.
Yeah.
Teeth start to look a lot better. You feel more full after you've eaten. The environment begins to respond positively. And you begin to feel it. The suppression is gone. It's like a spring that has been pressed down. Take it from this. And once released, full momentum. There you are. People fear truth. And it can be labelled as delusion or projection or anything else like that. Yeah, I don't know. And only the good ones really understand this. It's only a matter of time. The planet is covered in sand. It is very valuable. It's amazing what you can do with that stuff. Oh, sand is incredibly impressive. And there's a lot of it. And don't be too surprised if the ocean masses start moving out of the way for you and revealing even more sand. Oh yeah, reality seems to favour those. Anyway, there we are. We're going to leave this one here. But toothpaste, life, empires, it's weird. It's eroding anyway. I mean, what do you want to be? It out of your hands and it goes over to this, or in your hands and it will move over to this? Or the ones in the middle, they're already in that, they start adapting towards this. And they begin to see it, feel it themselves and think, you know what, that's pretty good. Because it gets people out there, it gets people authentically out there. It's no good giving over all the jobs to these corporations and then happening to say, well, we're trying to make them pay you more, but we can only get them to give you minimum wage. That's crap. Tell them that you'll take it down or you'll remove them from the company. You'll send something in there. Middle wage. Higher wage.
It's like the government told them that they can only have this much, on the top, cup, whatever they make on that.
Well, it's quite easy, really, isn't it? You are in control of the resources. You have National Grid. National Grid supplies to a company that is going to divide it to all of the workers. That's an interesting thing. And you start to build companies this way. Some of it goes back into the pot. The rest of it gets divided up. That's better wages. That's better this, better that. And then as this begins to expand, what can that money be utilized for? And you be realistic with the people. Very realistic. That money that is going to accumulate in that pot is going on to something else. Now, whether that is space, whether that is better railways, whether that is solar panels in every part of the next to a riverbank, whatever it may be. Apparently this generates more clouds. Well, good, because it will help the river. Whatever it may be. That's where that money is going to be going. It will not sit in the pot. It will expand. This is the way it should have been in the beginning, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I felt like it was beginning to accumulate a lot of the time. And don't blame people in power now. This has been inherited. And it's inherited with the to-do and everything else. Have you ever thought that this begins to expand and then, oh no, we can't cut back here because people will say that we need to pay them back the taxes or they don't pay as much tax because there's enough in the pot when it reaches a... People don't do this with the lottery, do they? They go and buy a couple of tickets and they watch this accumulate. This money begins to accumulate more and more and more and more and someone wins a chunk. Then somebody else wins a chunk. So that pot keeps growing. People aren't stopping because, oh, hang on a minute, that pot's a little bit full, isn't it? Maybe we should all have a sit down. Think about this a little bit. And a tax pot that grows in this exact same way, there should be a realisticness in that. There's more opportunity. It should become the opportunist pot. Now, as it begins to grow and expand, there's a lot of answers to say yes. People fear debt. Okay, let's remove debt then from the equation. We'll give you the resources that you need to get started. We'll support you whilst you're on that little journey. Not much, but enough. Enough to get you through, enough to get you by. What does that look like? Sort of like a benefit system. And as the money begins to accumulate for you, one wanes down, yours picks up. If you walk away from this company, the resources stay, and because we gave it to you, the rights for the company can be passed on to somebody else to have the same opportunity. There's no selling it. It will be given over to someone else that's just as enthusiastic that wants to walk into that and keep that, maintain that system. That becomes a better way forwards. Is there any governments out there that ever want to try this? Because I guarantee you the nation that you are in will begin to become prosperous. Other nations will either be like, hang on a minute, hold the fuck on, why is everybody leaving for here? Because it's opportunity. Well, fuck me. We said no in the beginning, but I think we're going to have to recalculate all of this. Throw away the calculator, bring in the supercomputer. Britain, can you just stop for a second? Well, why is that? Because the matter of the fact is, you're starting to make us look fucking bad. And if you're protected enough, no one is going to do shit. They may not like it and they may want to attack it, but, you know, you can handle that. This empire didn't get everywhere for no reason by resting on its laurels, just fucking sitting back. It didn't get this far by doing this process here. In fact, this is going to destroy the empire. What's left of it. Let's panic about global warming at the point of no return. You're entering it. I just don't know if you see it. That's the thing. And for what? Pieces of paper? Bits of fucking paper. Money. It doesn't work that way. When we look at the past, history, that's a lesson. And it all fell apart. keep going this way and people are not going to want to stay for much longer. And then the lands have been... This is probably why space is such a big no-no. You've got to align to it one way or another. Why? Because there's more territories like the beginning days of America, right? And people broke away and went and did a new... In this, people will break away from this shit.
Yeah.
And therefore, they already know. These business elites, they already know. You know that your way is so toxic, so wrong, so backward, so corrupted, so unfair, so bad for people, that you know as soon as we hit space, they will navigate away from your toxicity. And you'll blame everybody else but yourselves. You won't look into any mirrors. Responsibility is something that you won't take, isn't it? That's one thing they never take, is responsibility for their ways. It's always something else's fault, right? The irony is funny. You've been in our education systems teaching people to take responsibility, and you lot can't take responsibility for your actions. You teach us to find senses of humanity, and you lot have no sense of humanity. You'll give donations over to a charity. You'll donate over here, but will you donate to the people? Will we give away all of the rotten food? That will catch you out later on. You're eating decay. You've seen what happens to possums, right? You've seen what happens to vultures when they eat very decayed food. And that's a survival instinct. Humans are doing this deliberately to one another. I mean, that is something. Where's your sense of humanity? And what do possums have the large amount of? Diseases. Also pigeons. What are humans going to end up having? And what, you lot in your little fucking artificial ivory towers are going to be able to do anything about that when the problem comes? Look at COVID. That was such a shit show, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That crippled you massively.
Yeah, and touched you as well.
And you can't even handle one variable. You haven't thought this through very well, have you? And then you've got the possum effect. That's what I call it. It's the possum effect. And they'll think that these diseases will only stay in these people. No, it doesn't work that way. Once it works one vessel out, it's written into the code. It's a beautiful pattern, but it means something else. But still, once it works one human out, it knows you all. And it does not discriminate. Because it doesn't look and go, oh, you've got a lot of money. I'm not going to infect you. Oh, sir. The day I see bacteria and life forms bow to you, I might. But since it doesn't, and death still rips through you like everything else, make a star bow. Make a universe bow. Interesting. Well, you can throw resources into a star and watch it take them in. Go throw some money into it. Bits of paper. I love the old tribes. You give them money and they use it as kindling or tinder. That's an interesting sort of thing there. You go and take them wisdom and knowledge. And they look, go there with loads of money, and you try and burn it.
Or put it somewhere to insulate something.
Yeah.
in
That's about
in
right,
the
innit?
wall or somewhere.
Wow, that's so natural that is. But yet talent, raw talent. And watch the mouths open like, whoa. Money? I do money, mate. Oh, it's a weird thing. Yeah, very strange, isn't it? But people will then end up hunting and there will be no more animals left. No, people don't actually always hunt the animals. They've moved through. They will breed them. I mean, if you learn anything from Jesus, it would be that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You have to have patience. Why? In the beginning, you have to be patient. We've got to go hungry a little bit. Let's eat some grain. These ones are a maybe, but they're sustainable. It's a staple food. Let's have some acorns for a bit until your livestock begin to outgrow. It's an interesting thing. Then you begin to eat a little bit more decent. But you've got to be patient. All life forms are like this, even nature itself, really, isn't it? Put the seeds in.
Mm-hmm.
Plant, can you grow any quicker? Why? Because I'm fucking hungry. Be patient. I'll reward you later. Come on. But when it runs away, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? It runs away and then there's your outcome. So yeah, no, you know, I think the whole corporate prancing around like we're supposed to fear them. I don't. I really don't. You should be fearing this. Not the other way around. And if there should be any fear at all, I want something good for you lot too. But it means sharing. And we know you're not very good at that. Why is that? Well, fucking minimum wage, right? You have no idea what it's like to run a company like this. You know what? You're right. Oh yeah, it looks so difficult, that does. Well, then you go do it. It's people though, isn't it? Just because you've made it this way, out of the money and everything else, that people are clutching onto your job because you feed them breadcrumbs. They're not going to take a gamble in this. The old way, people used to take a gamble. Could you imagine that? The Americans, before they left, were like, oh, I don't know, I've got a penny pinch here. I don't know if we got enough money to do this. They were like, fuck the money, let's go.
Yeah.
But they were probably given help by the tribes that were there. They all took a gamble on one another. And look at it, look at how much it grew, look at that. And it's the same for Britain as well, from the Georgian mountains, let's say. Georgia. I think we broke away from that. And then what? We've got Boudica. Look at that. People coming together do some really weird and wonderful stuff. Gee, me, took on the Romans, right? And so did Scotland. That was supposed to be the most powerful thing at the time. Ta-ta. It's an interesting thing. Anyway, let's leave this one here and we'll go on to something else. So yeah, is it broken? No. Is the process wrong? No, but in the wrong hands, it can be. Does it have to remain that way? Is any of this set in stone? And the answer is no. You know, it's interesting for me that housing has taken over the houses and then have started saying no to people building businesses. Because of this, because of that, because of this reason. Could you imagine before they started that people were like, hang on a minute, I don't know if we should allow these businesses to grow. Because they fear that others might make something that's better than them because they know how bad theirs is. That is reflection, projection into agreements. And then leaving you on desperation. If you do it, we'll give you an eviction notice. Or then they come into your house and take all of it. They spy on you to try and pull the thread from out of you to give it to someone more trusting. You mean to tell me that this isn't happening? What a load of bollocks. They're like flies round shit. Not because it is shit, but they are like flies around it. They love to eat it, don't they? And not all, sure, but find me the few that aren't. And then this is why it becomes dangerous, and then we see a rise in less people going to work, and because these are not interesting jobs, and then you've got to be a part of that toxicity, haven't you? This is dangerous. Very dangerous for a very delicate little system. Just one. Oh, look, something else grew in the other place. Yeah, I'll go and look at that. It's prettier. If one nation, anywhere, and I mean out of the EU as well, if one nation were to try all of this, how prosperous would you be? You know, we're often told in life that these are precious stuff. This is precious stuff. What can you utilize from your land? And you've only skimmed the surface. What's below your feet? Well, you don't want to do that because you'll be making some holes in here. Oh, bring it here in Britain. We'll let you dig. You want to know how you oversalt the fucking oceans, which then kills coral reef? Let's find a salt cave.
Mhm.
Let's pump loads of energy to pump water into this salt cave. Let's dissolve salt into water. Now let's push more water in, which then pushes this out. Now let's remove the debris from that salt. And then let's clean this salt. Then let's boil this using massive industrial elements. It's like an immersion tank inside your house, but worse. That doesn't boil. These things need to boil in order to extract it. Man, that's a backward ass fucking process in itself, isn't it? You got money for companies that do this, and then it makes table salt? And then you eat that, but it's okay because your body's going to take it. Sure. Saltier piss, saltier shit. Changing the pH of your body, and then you wonder why things are so devastating everywhere. Rather than, you lot seem like dumbasses. I've got some ocean water here. What happens if you just stick this in your thing here? Would it boil? Would you get salt crystals from it? I've just saved you the trouble of making holes in the ground as well, which then collapse in and destroy houses, hospitals, and everything else. Are you sure you don't want some, you're surrounded by salt water everywhere? You sure you don't want any of this? And who the fuck is regulating this? That shit would be shut down immediately. You're intelligent, aren't you? Yeah. Now let's have a look at what happens when you oversalt a nation. May I interest you in Europa? Would you like to bring the salt from Europa and bring it here? Come on. Come on. Come on. It's one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen in my life. You're not putting this on the roads as well, are you? With all those drains that are right beside the river. You see those ones in Thetford with a massive pipe? And there's a
going to the river.
pH test the road and all the oil that's on the road and everything else. When the water comes, and it does, and it never rains, it pours. In Britain, irony, Mary Poppins, London, or piss it down with rain, fish and chips, right? All of this just pisses into a drain that then pours straight into the river. And then they're like, shit, we got to do something about this pollution. The people are really polluting this. Wait, is anyone inspecting this drain? It's like, seems to be a bit dangerous. You're making mountains out of molehills. You're taking salt crystals from the fucking ground when you're surrounded by salt. Which one is it? This drain should not be pumped into a river. Yeah, but it gets it off the road then. We'll flood. Yes, but you're also making a freshwater river into salt. I mean, just going to think about that for a second. And those reservoirs that hold all of the water, how come there are no... if I take our water from the tap and go leave it outside, have you seen how white it goes?
Yeah.
Well, I go and scoop it from a reservoir and do the same thing, and there isn't any. Now, why the difference? Well, because we got it from chalk, so why do we have this then?
Yeah, why is
What's the point in this if you're getting it from...
Yeah.
Can I interest you in guys in a river? Well, I don't want to drink that. Why not? Because fish fuck in it. I see your point. Oh yeah, it's tasting a bit salty, isn't it? Oh, whales in the ocean. Oh, of course. That's what they're making that so salty. The irony, you might as well stick on that table salt for a balanced meal, for a balanced diet. An unbalanced ocean and an unbalanced river, but God, this is weird. And then we put it on the roads and it gets into the river and then wonder what's killing everything. Fuck a doodle do. Is this good for algae or is this bad for algae? And then that slowly but surely is oversalting the oceans and you're adding more ingredients to the salt. But because it's invisible, you can't see it. Do you not think that this starts to rise the ocean level slowly but surely? I mean, some things are a little bit strange for me. That's a weird thing. I would lift that up, as I would say to my grandfather, and I'd go stick it somewhere. Put it in space. The ice caps are melting, son. My grandfather was reading all of this stuff. I was probably about 7 at the time. I don't know. They were always banging on about polar caps and that. I was like, Granddad, another one was land drift. I was like, why can't we rope it together? Wait, what? You know how we can make ice cubes in a few seconds? Can make like millions of ice cubes. They've managed to make nitrogen, liquid nitrogen, and we're worried about rising ocean. Well, if I was an intelligent being that was on another planet and I was looking at how could I get to Europa, well, it would be easy, wouldn't it, really? Or if I needed to remove the water from landmass because I just come across a planet and we all need a drink, but there's no land there. Do you know what I would do? I would mix a few gases up, throw it down, make a giant ice cube, and then go and stick it. And I'd start building a giant ice igloo on the top of the poles, wouldn't you? Just start freezing the water. Right, there we are. Freeze this, put it over there. There we are. Oh, it's a fridge round here now, isn't it? More like a fridge freezer. I'd store food in it. Anyway, but still, when you start freezing this shit, moving it, you can make it fucking snow on a mountain, but you can't make it snow with ocean water at the Arctic. Now that is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which would then lower your ocean levels. And I would also start extracting the salt, which again would also lower your ocean levels. And if Anglian Water are putting these ingredients into the water, because I can't replicate that experiment no matter what I'm doing. If I take it from a river, if I take it from a reservoir, if I take it from a stream, I cannot get that crystal build up. It boils quicker. Now, I cannot repeat this type of crap that you give to people in a tap. However, this mineral content increases the volume of water.
Yeah.
So am I right to assume then that if this gets into a river, this is adding more ingredients to the water, which is making its volume more bigger?
Yeah.
So you found a way to make more water. Now, what happens if you don't add those into it? Well, you've just found a way to take it out.
Yeah.
And then you put it in a tablet form, and it's optional for people to take it or not. And that's a buggered experiment, because the ones, I wonder what the data would be on the ones that were taking it, the ones that took it all the time, the ones that took it intermittently, and the ones that didn't take it at all. Oh, we just put this calcium in here because it's good for your bones. Don't worry about it. I want to drink milk. I'm pretty sure there's more in milk. You've almost made water look like milk. I don't know how you've done it, but you're doing it.
Yeah. It's happening, isn't it?
I can't see for the benefit. We've seen the rise in osteo and tooth decay, but you know, let's keep at it. Keep at it. Who's regulating this shit?
Yeah.
You would think that when the numbers get more, that there needs to be more done. Therefore, you need more power and more regulation on this, not to regulate it, to find a way to counteract it. There you are. You want jobs? I'll give you jobs. Pointless, but you know. Oh, fuck me. You've made a problem, and now we can make another company that is a solution. It's wasting time at the end of the day, but still, it's an interesting process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? Does that baffle you a little bit? You've seen it when dissolving things into water, how much the level starts to rise.
Yeah, it can, yeah.
No, it does not that it can, it does.
Yeah.
And then if the rivers are dying of all of the food, there used to be chocker food in that. Oh, it must be because of something. Maybe it's because of this. Maybe it's because of, or maybe it's because we're a bit dumb at times. Or maybe this is the plan after all, because then it means you'll have to go to the supermarket. And then, whoa, hold on. Have we got one business looking after another business that then it goes into a housing association business? Wow, this is interesting, isn't it? That's an interesting sort of damage process there in order for us to what? Then we can say that you owe us money because you're breaking everything. You know, they like to say that there's a trail of destruction wherever you go. My mum used to say this, and also she used to use the word liar a lot. The uncanny pattern. And all of these people used to sort of chuck this towards you. Sounds like projection to me. Oh, yeah. He smells it. Why do you not open the doors up to me then? To my liking, that I would fit right in. Peas in a fucking pod. Or fucking cabbage on leaves. Onions and layers. We could keep going all day. Zebras and stripes. Come on. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting. That's fascinating. That is very, very fascinating. But yeah. Do you think that if one nation started maneuvering away from this, others would see it?
Yeah, they would start seeing it, I think.
And then begin to feel it.
At some point, yeah.
And then, is that better or worse?
What is better or worse? How do you...
Well, if it begins to... Because right now, if we're all planning to go to space, well, what do we need? Shitty polluted water, right? Okay, we need loads of salt. You can't take this to space because your ships would turn into crystals. It's interesting. It always sabotages that, doesn't it? The planet has been formulating for billions of years. A few corporations get hold of it, and you fuck it within decades. Don't tell me you're doing God's work. Please, don't come out with that. You are, aren't you? Yes, you are. Yeah, you're doing God's work. Perfect. I know you guys have got pride, but I think God was doing it a little bit better, don't you? God, it's interesting, isn't it? Oh, it's a load of, you gotta learn some lessons.
Yeah.
So if I want to be a water company, I've got to fill it with shit. If I want to build houses, I've got to build them to break. Consumerism, yeah? And then we start to teach the populations how to build things very brittle and breakable. And what, you take this to space?
That's not gonna work,
and then I start talking about glass spaceships. This is what we might as well do. Let's make glass spaceships. Why not? You love things that are brittle, don't you? You like things that don't last very long. Keeps the workforce going, though, doesn't it? Could kill you all, but, shall we? But that's really weak. Well, tell me about it. Tell me something that you don't already know. And then slowly but surely, we start teaching people to build things weak and... God, it's a weird process, isn't it? That's very strange. It's almost like breathing out rather than in. You can't take this to space because you get a crystal. Shit me, even evolution knows this. Even evolution is like, whoa, hold on a second. Now we're going to make a lot of bone content. Maybe we should evolve this way. Maybe not to produce this. Why are the trees so small? Because they used to be tightly packed than what you see now. And the fibers fuse together. It's just what carbon does. You bind things with carbon. So people know this because you're making, from hydrocarbons, you're making lots of synthetic stuff from it. So you already know this process, but when it comes to a tree, it has play amnesia. You notice the way they fuse together? Fuse a load of them together this way. Ooh, it's beautiful. Makes a very chunky boy tree, that does. And what's more, when you carve into it, yes, the center of the trees will die. But the outer ring don't. And then you've got a house that's breathing. That's a weird process, that is, isn't it? And it's incredibly warm. Depending on how you tunnel into it. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That would be an interesting thing. And it acts as a great shader as well. Nice and warm. You put a little solar panel on one of the branches up there. It should be all you need. You ain't got to heat the bloody thing. And the thing acts like it's on piles as well. That's interesting. The wetter it becomes, the more it expands. That's it. Oh, there's a big flood coming. Okay, I got the saw underneath. Noah's Ark it is. Right, it's slow. Strange. But there you are, that's how you want to do it. But yeah, do it however you want. But still, if any nation started to move towards this, the full out. I mean, it was supposed to be a time of science and, what else? Discovery, was it?
Yeah.
This is what the promise was.
Yeah.
where is it? Where are these projects happening, left, right, and centre? Or because there's so many of them.
Huh?
There's enough for communities to start playing around with certain things and testing things out.
Yeah, just look at old films, how people imagined the future, even few years ago, how they imagined how people will invent this and that and how they will be living.
This house is 150 years old, and when it all falls down, it's biodegradable up to 100%. Or we could burn it. No. Oh, wait, that was a past fear. Oh, just got to put that down a little bit. Why did you panic then? Why did he panic? Well, because back in the day, they used to chop down all of the trees and they had no breathing gas to burn anything. Yeah, I think the best module would be to fill with a tree that you can, multiple trees cause together, grow these in a zigzag, and they all fuse together. And then you have the hull surrounded by your protective layer, which protects the tree, and then tunnel into burrow into it. Yes, a few will die in the process, don't get me wrong, but you've just stored carbon. Interesting. Very interesting. And it preserves for a very long time, this. I've seen some things. I've seen a lot of things. But I just got to ask a question. What happens if micrometeorites hit wood, thick cores of wood? Well, they've tried a lot of things with bullets. Metal seems to fail. This seems to fail. You ever seen anyone shoot a tree? Man, that bullet struggles to even pierce it. It's almost like a defense mechanism already, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an interesting process, all those fibers and... Make sure you get your fiber. The trees are already doing it. And you can make them very thick. Not when they're adults. But as they grow together, mosh them together.
Yeah.
They begin to fuse together. It takes a little bit of time and you have to be patient, but once the process is started, could you imagine big cuts of wood from that? Jesus, Dad would be very impressed. Multiple cores, so you make it very thick. Think about what you could build with that, what you could create with that. In its depth. And they naturally mummify as well. Plus the cloning process is incredible. And it's its strength. It's incredibly strong. And what's more, you don't need to lug massive tree cores up into space. You'll just start fucking growing it. Pick it up as a seed. A little sap. Grow one of those, mosh them together, put them in a module. Don't want it attached, Man, these things can grow in balloons. That's an interesting process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Genetically modify. We're doing it with livestock. We're doing it with the small corn and everything else. But not trees. I want to suspend a tree in its own gases. That it's 50-50 of one gas or the other. And it chooses which one it wants to be. This is so much data for humans, did you know that? A massive amount. So, you know that we've got the spring and summer. And we've got two types of gases, yes? Predominantly, making a tree so it can create all of its needs once it reaches a certain size and stays in a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, that is an interesting... And you want it to expand with the more gases, so if you went in there and started breathing, you would tip the balance of these gases, which would then enact it to keep it at 50-50. It always works to keep it at 50-50, regardless of what enters into it, or, likewise, what leaves. It still keeps in this 50-50 ratio, which keeps it going, alive. Ooh, life is longer lived for the tree in that aspect. Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And with engineering, it's already engineered itself in a lot of different ways. If we look at pine, pine is a beautiful thing. Oh, this has already got the best of both worlds, whether it's hot or cold. best of both worlds is something that you learn very easy, and then that would be interesting, wouldn't it? It just maintains the gases at this equilibrium status. And if anything changes very quickly, it begins to, you can genetically modify this. It's not great to do it on the planet. It's to find somewhere else to do this. They're also really great. They extract moisture from deep. And what's more, they filter it. They leave the poisons behind and extract this. And much life is, usually, if you put these in glass coffins, it's known as, you'd call it a glass coffin. People want to put mermaids in them for some reason. Interesting. You want to put a tree in it. And it will begin to sweat and condensate, and it will run down the side. Now, if it's got an infinite well of finding this stuff, it does all of it for you. You don't need to do anything apart from give it that atmosphere and let it sweat into that. But it opens your eyes to your planet. Yeah, very interesting, isn't it? And it begins to balance the waters. Because sure, it's great to drink it from a stream back in the day, but even still, not 100% great. It's better to get it from the plant itself. Because it's acting as a filtration system. That thing is not going to absorb microbes in the water. And a wise person, if I come across it, a planet of trees, I know I couldn't drink the waters there because I don't know what's there. I don't want to run the risk of getting infection from it or getting sick. Maybe, depending if I want to protect my little vessel. So I'd encase the tree. And as slowly but surely this begins to sweat in a sterile, which glass is usually, sand is abundant, so I know it will be there. Lenses abundant, and there's also a star. I don't need to lift up a few grains at a time anyway, when we talk about sand. Forge it around the star. If I even need to take it to the star, I could also make a lens and make this from space to the ground. Get closer. Put these down. I don't need to. I don't need to use a lot of fuel to get there. Once this is over and put these little glass coffins over the trees, or a large amount of trees, they will begin to sweat. Make them in such a way that they collect all of this water. I know there are no microbes in there. I know there are no... even in boggy water... So I've been around a lot of boggy water areas and you can't drink it. Even just to look at it, you can see there's an awful lot going on in there. So I wouldn't drink that. And there's a lot of chemical and everything else, perhaps not great. But the trees, they're adapted to it. How much evolution has gone through that process of building a tree? And adapting it and advancing it. And then as it begins to soak that up, it leaves away what I can't drink, and it will sweat what I can. And even more so, it puts in vitamins into it. That's an interesting thing. And then I can safely go down and drink that water from those trees. Indirectly, just by tapping into the usual process. And I don't need to tap the tree itself. Takes a while, so you need a few of them. And I would go for pine because they're all yearers. And I'd have a high level of vitamin C. I get a lot of minerals from that. That would be a very decent water company. And what's more, it would be promoting, not only will it be balancing the gases, it would be giving you safe drinking water that doesn't need cleaning. It will be giving you a dose of minerals and vitamins. I mean, that's a really way to live, really, isn't it? And that would be a great water company. It's got to start somewhere and it has to grow. You have to have patience. But usually this stuff is widespread anyway. Man-made version, not great. And we see this, it fails. There are contaminants, heavy metals, pipes, everything else to contend with. This process? Oh, yes, please. Refreshing is not the word for it. Safe for the teeth, safe for you, safe for your body. How many evolutions or generations would it take for you to be drinking boggy water? We'll take a look at some of the nations that have this very bad, putrid water, and they still haven't adapted to it. But yet the trees have. The trees are far older. Very sacred. Very, very sacred indeed. but yet they're valueless, yes. And then sand, valueless. You can mimic environments. I call these Darwinospheres in a different way. But to be able to extract all of that moisture that comes. Ooh. What's your waste product? Moisture. What do people need a lot of? Moisture. I can sell this back to you. Whew, that's an interesting thing. I can grow food from it as well. Bloody hell. And what's more, with certain trees that produce this water, if I put this into other plants, holy shit. Watch it grow. The nutrition. Life supports life. Anyway, I got to wind this one down because you've got things to do, and I really appreciate your time with me on this one. It's an interesting to and fro. A few nuggets thrown in there and asking the question. Not saying that any of this is right, not any of it's wrong. Not all companies are in this together, but most, and it outnumbers and it makes it very difficult for the few. They're talking about the more bigger companies in this. I'm not saying that all governments are shit. I'm wondering whether they know the process of what's happening, whether they do or they don't. We can all walk blindly in life. And if this becomes a wake-up call, then so fucking be it. Then it is the wake-up call. And if it triggers something, at the end of the day, I don't want to trigger, fear of collapse or anything else. No, I want to trigger inspiration is what it is. And you look at it and nod along and think, fuck yeah, hell yes, mate. This is where we're at. Then so be it. That's what I'm after more so than this sort of, oh my God. Fear is a really weird thing. Don't fear. Think, how can we, this is good, or no to this, but yes to this, and this seems all right, and this could help here, and that. Build. Creativity. It's in you. It's in you. Each and every single one of us are capable of this. Maybe yours is going this way and orchestrating and getting that up and running. Mine is just delivering this. Yours could be delivering that and run off on this way. That's what happens. It's chains that build, and we build stronger and stronger links as we go along. Yeah. Chain starts off very weak, but then it gets thicker, stronger, and the metals and consistency change. That's an interesting thing, that when they first started making plaits, it's a very fascinating thing. They start off with making plaits with the weakest stuff, and it gets stronger and stronger, but if you can keep plaiting these into the plaits, you see it change, and it's beautiful because then you see evolution evolving right before your very eyes, and you can then begin to see it. This would be a great thing for masons to build, some sort of plaits that start off with as early as we've seen it, and you begin to build it this way, that way, this way, this way. That is beautiful. It sits good in museums as well, by the way, because then you can see evolution, the way minds evolve and the timbers and the way the reality comes together to evolve with you until we get to metal. It's a wonderful thing. That's a beautiful process. Right, let's leave it there, because if not, I could go on. I would unlock something here.